You are listening to Off Planet Radio at offplanetradio.com.
Okay, so this is Off Planet Radio, offplanetradio.com. I'm Randy Maugan. This is Raw and Naked, and we're just going to kind of lance some boils that need to be taken care of out there in internet world, because apparently the lunatics are running the playhouse, and we need to straighten some shit out. And with me is Duncan O'Finian. Hey, Dunk, how you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. I've had the week from hell. I've got a fully charged phone, a six-pack of Tall Boys, a fresh can of Skull, and I'm ready to rock this place.
Okay, that's what we need. Locked and loaded is the goal here, because, like I said, it's become insanity on steroids, and this is all going to lead into a lot of the signal to noise bullshit ratio that has surrounded now since, July, September, October, nearly 3 months, over 3.5 months of this circus ride that we've been given over the death of Max Spears. So.
And it all dovetails into that. And contrary to some people's belief, no, I'm not dead. No, I haven't gotten soft. Yes, I can still curse with the best of them. So, I'm more than a little pissed off, same as you are right now. So let's just cut this thing loose and have at it.
Okay, so in July, it flashed out across the internets, at least the parts that you and I are connected to, because we're connected to the world where the strange meets the bizarre, and it's hard to tell the difference between the two of them sometimes. So this thing was like a concussion shell that just landed in the middle of the so-called alternative community about the death of Max Spears. And what has continued to go on for over 3.5 months now has been just a constant oozing of misinformation, disinformation, stories, fantasies, hot flashes from middle-aged women who ought to know better, and a perpetual parade of ghouls, namely certain high-profile so-called alternative media hosts. Does that even begin to cover it?
I want to know what the hell has happened to people's critical thinking. What have they done? Buried and burned the thinking caps? Come on, boys and girls. It just sit down and think before you speak and before you write for a little while. You and I think, got contacted in July, I think it was. We were working up in Michigan then with some SRA people. At about the same time. I think we found out the same afternoon, the same day, something like that.
It was the weekend of a very high ritual.
Yeah.
Which you and I discussed privately, of why we knew that was occurring. Right. And where you were at that time in Michigan was not unimportant because of what goes on in the spook camps out there as well.
Yeah, we were working with a group of satanic ritual abuse victims at that time. And we were doing, I guess the easiest way to say it is reverse ritual, soul retrieval, I guess, getting their innocence back from when they were children. Because when you're consecrated as a child, according to universal law, once you reach the age of reasoning, you have the right to say no and retrieve your soul and your innocence back. The problem is they don't tell these kids that. So they become adults and they're still involved. But once they find out they can, that's where we come in. So we were dealing with that when I found out. And then you and I contacted each other, and then through a mutual acquaintance, I was asked to talk about it. And as far as the cause of Spears' death, do any of us actually know what happened?
No one knows. Nobody still knows. There's no definitive word.
No.
And as these, for the narrative here, here we are 3.5 months out now. We're in the middle of October, and now this has hit mainstream news like it is the stock market crash of 1929. I mean, literally, major tabloid newspapers in the UK have been running this thing. Every headline's different. Every possible permutation you can imagine attached to Max Spears. First off, let's get this out of the way. Never, ever, ever was Max Spears a UFO expert. As far as I know, he did not talk about UFOs. Now, we can talk about the veracity of what he did talk about, but he was not, quote, a UFO expert, nor was he a conspiracy theorist. These are all buzzwords that were dolloped out to the public through the tabloids. And I might add that this is language that's used out of the chute to discredit. The term UFO expert itself is a complete, nobody's an expert in UFOs. There are as many types of UFOs as there are experts of UFOs out there.
Well, that's the question I ask on Facebook the other day. How the hell do you get to become an expert on UFOs? Like you just said, there are no UFO experts. I don't know anybody that, honestly gets taken up into the mothership and given a tour and then is able to come down and talk about it. But the other thing concerning Spears and whatnot, you said it very well at the beginning. How many women out there are saying they're engaged to this guy now after he's dead? What the hell is wrong? What's wrong with you people? Look, the guy's dead. Okay, fine. I am not going to sit here and desecrate someone when they're dead. I met Max. I met him face to face. Had a conversation with him face to face at Awakener where I won. I had several subsequent phone calls over several months after that. And I can tell you straight up, he was digging for information. After that, along came Cash Bolt, whatever his name was. We can go into that. And during the whole Kerry Cassidy, Super Soldier, Lorian Fenton, James Rink debacle that for 2-3 years that was going on, guys, face it, Max was a parrot. He regurgitated and repeated what he was told to say, nothing more. He may have been a nice guy. I have no doubt that he did not go through some form of abuse growing up. I don't doubt that. But he was not in one of the programs like I was in and many, many of the other people who survived these things were in. And it's a slap in the face to a lot of people. When people start taking the one individual and raising them up to superstar status, which is about what this amounts to, and making them their personal guru and hanging on to every word they say about life and changes and what's going down in the future and et cetera, et cetera. A, you give away all your power to someone else, and B, you totally, completely take away from the abuse of the children in the past, the present, and the future. You make a mockery of what's really going on. I stood this on I can't say where, in the agreement, but I said this a couple of days ago. There's still over 1 million kids go missing in the United States every year. Over 500,000 are never seen or heard from again. Where's the concern with that? It's like the critical thinking has left your brains. You know, you latch on to one person because, let's face it, he's a pretty boy, talk the good talk. It's all bullshit. It's all utter nonsense, but he talked the good talk. And that's where your noses go until they frickin' turn brown. And you totally overlook what's going on around you. You fell into the trap. You walked right into it. And that's exactly what people like Cashbo, Spears, Rink, Fenton, Cassidy, Johnston, all these people, that's the trap that they set. And all you people just following one individual or one group or one interviewer or one this and one that, and just following around, hanging on to every word they say like your life depends on it, you walked right into the trap. You gave away your critical thinking. You gave away your power. You gave up all common sense, and you totally, utterly, completely, snobbishly look away from the hell and the torture and the pain that's going on to people right here, right now. And will continue to until enough people completely, and I mean truly, wake up. The ones that really wake up. All these people out there, and I see this every flipping day. Every day with what Susan and I do, the work that we do. They think they're awake. They say they're awake. They're more asleep than somebody that's taken 5 Advil PMs. They're just totally out of it, oblivious to what's really going on around them. Hey, the critical thinking's got to come back. You can't just take one person, idolize that person, put your nose up their asses till it turns brown and follow them around. You can't do that. It's like the polarization in the United States right now over this freaking election. People fighting, killing, dying over voting for Trump or voting for Hillary. It's unreal. I've never seen anything that has gone so spastic and so outrageously nuts in my life. And I've seen a lot of crazy crap.
Yeah, I don't think at this point...
I'm pausing for my breath.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm not certain that there's a lot of logic and perspective present in the so-called alternative media that's being presented under the columns of, we'll start with Bases, Project Camelot, Project Avalon, all of these so-called popular sites that are presenting all this woo-woo information. A lot of this information, quite frankly, is designed, let's just be honest, most of it is glamorized clickbait. Most of it is designed to pull you into YouTube channels that are monetized. And I might add, by the way, that we happen to have some fairly good data on how well monetized some of these sites are.
Yeah, we do.
You know, we do have the numbers, and we do know the games that have been played for a long time with all types of shenanigans on Google and YouTube in order to fund these projects. There are people who make livings, who have full-time jobs doing this, who apparently have the ability to be jet setters on some level, and who have the ability to sustain themselves off of these fantasies that they're peddling at the expense of the rather unglamorous details that really go into the dark side here. And we're talking about satanic ritual abuse. We're talking about projects where children are literally plucked off of the street and taken into underground bases and other facilities and used, abused, a lot of times killed purposefully as science projects. I don't think people will stop to think about the body count from Montauk alone, where it was reported that the mortality rate was probably close to 70%. That was one figure that I saw, if not more.
Well, in 1966, with Project Talent at its conception, because my group was the first group in, there was 1,000 of us that was taken in. Over 600 didn't survive the first month. Over 600 kids died for just the first month alone. And nobody looks at that. It's like, oh, okay, sweep that under the rug. But we have some guy out here who makes a claim or three and looks good standing on stage, whether they're male or female, and they know all about the timelines, and they're telling us how to be and explaining to us how to live our lives. Horseshit. How many piles of manure do you have to have dumped on you before you actually shovel out of it? You know, I mean, it's unreal. And all this crap goes back to just after Awake and Aware 2. Actually goes back a little farther than that, which is Carrie Cassidy's Awake and Aware conferences. She had 3. I was involved in the first one and the second one. I saw what you put out today. I actually got a break for a few minutes about lunchtime and saw where you did the Blast from the Past.
Yeah.
And that brought up a lot of memories.
Yeah, it did.
That's when I first met Michael Hemmingson. Was at Awake and Aware 2. I'm on stage. He's sitting in the row of seats directly in front of me, third seat back, sitting out in the aisle on the edge of the seat, taking notes. That's when I first saw Hemmingson. Now, after Awake and Aware 2, I went back to where I lived at that time, and I got asked to fly back out to L.A. to meet with some people, and one of those people just happened to be Carrie Cassidy, and she offered me a position, and that position, and I quote, was to give the bona fides to all these new super soldiers who were going to be coming forward and being whistleblowers. I refused to do that. My argument was then and is now, I cannot say and will not say someone was involved in a project that I do not know, that I have never met, that I have never vetted, and I haven't spent some time with and asked the right questions. And she told me that didn't matter. There's a lot of money to be made in this. End quote. And I still said no. Directly after that, after coming back to the East Coast or the Midwest, is when all the crap began with former White Hat, Michael Hemmingson, the Carrie Cassidy, help me out with the name, the Dog and Pony Show, David Wilcock.
Oh, yes.
The Jack Burns, that whole Dog and Pony Show.
It was Bill Brock Bader era.
And with Brock Bader, that's when it all began at the same time. Then who did they bring in to take the position that I refused to take? Cashboat, Michael, James Cashboat, or Michael Prince, or Prince Michael, or Archangel Michael, or Rutherford P. Hayes, or whatever the hell name he went by. I don't know. But he got the position that they wanted to give me. Okay. We fast forward. He marries Haley Myers. And I want to say something right now that I have never said, and this is going to cause one big stink pot. You know what? I don't care. I'm like you. Ever since Spears,
No,
bit the dust.
don't hold back, because I'll tell you.
I'm not. Ever since Spears hit the dust, everybody's been out just going ape snot crazy and crying and bitching, pissing, whining, moaning, going, and just you know what? Look, Haley Myers contacted me right after Cash Boat did. Nobody really knows exactly what he did to her. We all saw, a lot of us saw the photographs, okay, as disgusting as they were. Supposedly he beat her and whatnot. Long story short, she contacted me and told me to name her price to take his ass out. Assassinate him. And I said no. I said, I need to talk to your grandfather. She never contacted me again. But Sarah Adams did, thanking me for all the help that I was giving her. And I'm thinking, what help? I haven't done anything. I told her I wasn't going to assassinate her soon-to-be ex-husband. What help? Can anybody say set up? I'm not an idiot. And then all that crap just escalated from there with White Hat and Idlewild Group. It was at that time the Cash Boat was kicked out of the United States, and no, boys and girls, contrary to popular belief, your little hero was never in the United States military. You have to be an American citizen to join the United States military. He was not an American citizen. He was kicked out of the country as a British citizen and told he couldn't come back. One story was 10 years, one story was never. It doesn't matter. That's when the Hemmingson stuff was going really big, the former White Hat, the Idlewild Group, and all the people that was involved in all that bullshit, this and that. This is when Kerry Cassidy and Lauren Fenton were doing their interviews. Hemmingson was interviewing Cassidy. Cassidy was interviewing Hemmingson, so on and so forth. And of course, you and I were pretty much the major topic of conversation. Fun times, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And the blog post, the comments were, fast and furious, day in and day out. But people forget one thing that I have said numerous times. I don't say anything without a reason. I never do anything without a reason. Now, Neal got involved in this. I warned Chris. You warned Chris. Stay out of this. Chris got killed. I have my suspicions, but I don't have proof of what happened to Chris. And you and I talked about that. I won't publicly talk about suspicions.
No, I won't talk about it either. That's kind of off.
That's kind of that.
Yeah, there's some information that's not put out there, mainly to protect both the integrity of the person involved with this, which is Chris himself, but also there's some information we're not going to put out because it's still active. It's an active file.
There is no statute of limitations on murder.
That's right.
But I will say this, it's very funny as to the timing of Chris's death and Hemmingson's faked death. And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the disappearance. By the way, did you know that Mikey Hemmingson actually has a Wikipedia page that's been amazingly sanitized of a lot of things that Hemmingson himself let out in comments on my own website. So I am, in the days ahead, going to contest the Wikipedia entry on Michael Hemmingson because it appears as though it's historically incorrect according to Mr. Hemmingson himself. So isn't that interesting? How in the hell do you get a Wikipedia page when you were basically a talk show radio host for 2 years on Freedom Slips and wrote porno novels under another name, Louis Nin?
Con
Nin, yes.
Yeah.
Allegedly a relative of Anais Nin, the lesbian feminist writer from the early 20th century.
Right. The first one to bring up, I would say 20 Shades of Grey, since it was the 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole background story to the Hemmingson thing that has a lot of texture and detail, mainly because he got very careless, which is why he had to be disappeared. He got sloppy, and things got connected very quickly. And
here's the thing. Here's the other thing. People listening right now are going to say, "Why in the world are you guys bringing all this stuff up from the past? It has no bearing on now." Wrong. It does. Because all the stuff going on right now that has gone on with Max Spears and some of the other so-called, I perish the thought, whistleblowers now. This is the same dance, the same song. It just has new band members. That's all.
Yeah, they drop characters in and out of the scenarios here. You know, this is a theater. It's a stage. Shakespeare got it. All the world's a stage.
This is the same crap that was going on then, except now we have the addition to Miles Johnston, who I will say straight up is the low-lifest, scum-sucking pig I have ever known. I think he trumps Carrie Cassidy. And I hope that pisses a lot of you people off. Because you people following this dirtbag are worse than the people that was following Mikey Hemmingson on former White Hat blog, Idlewild blog, or his Pornhub, Kink.com blogs. Yeah, that's right. That's who we're talking about. And these are the same people that talk about the abuses of women and et cetera, et cetera. Well, this was one of the major players in this game. And I got news for you. He still is. In case you haven't gotten the gist of what Randy and I are talking about, Hemmington's still alive. He faked his own death, and it was done very, very poorly. Very poorly
and very quickly and very sloppily put out there. And you know, anybody could go back. It's been documented. I probably have it somewhere on one of my websites. But the bottom line is this, that all of these characters drop in and out because these are cutouts. These are cutout operations. Miles Johnson keeps stating that he's been running bases for 25 years. Exactly how does that work? I mean, I can't find a history of 25 years. The earliest interview I know of with Miles Johnson is Barry King, who you and I both know. We've talked to Barry King, and Barry King was very legitimate. And here's the other thing. They require a certain level of substance to do these things. Project Camelot, Project Avalon, bases, name one, pick one. There have to be legitimate people that pass through here to give them their gravitas. But in the process, what they do is they seed in the others who are basically actors sent in, people that they've recruited, people who can hold a compelling narrative long enough to do a 2-hour video and be grilled by Miles. But even that's breaking down now to the point where all we're getting now is we're getting these children who are clearly not, we'll say, victims of some project. They simply don't profile that way. The trauma level is not there. And the stories read like a graphic novel from Marvel Comics. I mean, it is just ludicrous what's being put out there. And the people just swallow it. They digest it. They don't even chew anymore. It's almost like you better have a double stomach to eat this if you're going to swallow it whole, because only a cow could eat this.
Yeah, I know. And I honestly believe that the reason people choose to believe the fantastical stuff that is so over the top, and they internally they know it's BS, they know it isn't real, is that's their escape route. They run with that and think and say they believe that, so they don't have to deal with the straight up facts that go on every day. That kids are taken every day to put in these projects. Some survive, some don't. And as a straight up survivor of one of these, I'm going to tell you something. I sometimes think it's better if you don't come out of it. Because there is no cure. It's not like having something that 2 shots of penicillin and you're going to be better. It doesn't work that way. And
yeah,
this
is not gonorrhea, sports fans.
Yeah, no kidding. And this is not something that I hear this so much from these so-called whistleblowers coming out now. You see, just because over the past 2 years I've said very little. I've done very little because we've been working 7 days a week. Okay, doesn't mean I don't read stuff. I'm up 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. every day. I don't sleep. And so I take an hour, 2 hours in the morning before daylight.
I actually can testify to this. I know this to be true because, well, Duncan, you've stayed at my house for extended periods of time, so I know that.
Yeah, you'd find me sitting up awake 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting outside, just staring up at the stars. That's just, I don't sleep. I go days sometimes, I last week I went 4 days straight, never slept. Then I crashed for 4 hours. And I'm up going back to work. Yeah, just the way things work. But where was I going? This is fun. I keep hearing these kids, and this is the problem, and you said it very well, especially with Miles Johnson. The so-called whistleblowers keep getting younger and younger. And they keep talking about having all these multiple personalities, like 15, 20. In one case, somebody said 102 alternate personalities. One, that's virtually impossible. But then their statement is, with the help of someone who the Miles Johnston, Kerry Cassidy, or whoever knows and worked with them, they integrated and merged them all in one day. How many ways can I say bullshit? It doesn't work like that. There's no way it can work like that. I'm sorry. You can talk all the quantum ESP you want to talk about. It doesn't work. No matter what merging you do, what coming together you do, it's still a daily fight. PTSD does not go away. We always have it. When you've been in combat, when you've been in real combat, when you have watched somebody standing right next to you's head disappear from a gunshot, or you watch somebody's body dance up in the air and it comes down in pieces, it leaves that trauma. I don't care who you are, how good you are, how tough you think you are, it leaves its mark on your DNA. It leaves that mark on your soul, and you will deal with that for the rest of your life. So when these so-called whistleblowers come out, and I hear them for 2 hours on an interview with James Rink, or, oh God, James Rink, I could have went all night without hearing that name, and hearing all this garbage, and they're talking and they're bragging about the missions they went on. They blew up a galaxy here. They destroyed 2 underground bases the night before. People, get a freaking grip. Get your hemorrhoids in your hand and shovel them back in. You're making a total disgrace of the horrors and the tortures that have really gone on in the past and that are going on now and will continue to go on until people get their heads out of their asses and say, enough of this, and stand up and actually do something. And I've been screaming this for damn near 20 years. And I'm still standing. I was asked in an interview 2 days ago, which I still can't mention because I signed an NDA agreement. And they wanted to know how I'm still alive. And I said, it's not because these people didn't want me dead. I have been shot at, blown up, sprayed with neurotoxins, damn near drowned. They have tried to kill me time and time again. I'm just too freaking stubborn, and I do have, a lack of a better term, a bodyguard. When you truly come out of one of these projects and you start talking about it, your life will go to hell. Being put on planes and sent all around the globe to speak at conferences and sign autographs and have people bring you a dozen of roses on stage when you're finished talking is a pipe dream. It don't work that way. Doesn't happen.
This goes into something that I observationally have noted a couple of times as I've posted about Max Spiers. And it may sound unkind. I don't like talking about those who have departed us because they're not here to defend themselves anymore. But all you have to do is look at what's been proliferating out on Facebook, specifically coming from the Basis Facebook group and a specific group of almost dominantly females and what they've been putting out. Repeating conversations with, it's funny how many conversations this guy had with people in the moments leading up to his death. I mean, Skype conversations, Facebook chats, telephone calls. This was one busy dude as he was being deep. And I'm sorry, you people on Facebook have put this stuff out. It is indefensible what I have seen put out from at least one rather well-known, through Bases, female journalist who had a radio show until even it got so bad that Revolution Radio dropped her ass. Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes, Christine, I'm talking about you. And
Christina Hart?
Repeating what Max Spiers told you, which we don't know if it's true or not because he's not here anymore. But then...
Wait a minute. Can I interject?
Yeah, but please.
Is this the same Christina Hart who publicly said she was MI5 or 6 and infiltrated the real IRA?
Yes, the same
You're
Christina
a lying
Hart.
skank.
Yes.
The Z-Man who was head of security for the real IRA is a friend of mine. Yeah, my roots go deep, okay? My involvement in different organizations from the time I was a teenager until I was decommissioned, basically, ran deep. I know a lot of people. Honey, you were never infiltrating the IRA. And if you say you were, you're a lying skank.
And then there's Sarah, who, like another very high-profile female who has shown up on the scene as some of these guys have gone down, even more, there's Sarah, who has now broken silence and gone out, and she's dumping all kinds of information too. Lots of people are dumping a lot of information about Max. A lot of people have said, the hell with it. These were private conversations. I'm going to put them out anyway because, well, this is the moment. Mainstream has finally recognized us. Look at us. We hit the mail.co.uk today. Whoopee. Mainstream media now recognizes Miles Johnson and Max Spiers as a UFO expert. For Christ's sake. If it means that much to you to be mainstream, go work for mainstream. The people who have integrity don't go there in the first place because they know it's going to be treated exactly the way it has been treated. It is a sideshow circus in tabloid magazines. It's like the two little pretty girls from Sedona that sold their story about having sex with reptilians and then complained because they were exploited by the British tabloid press. It's like, excuse me? I'm looking at your picture here. You're rather attractive. You've got crystals all over you, and you're telling us how hot it was to have sex with a reptilian. I don't think you're going to get taken very seriously. And that's what this has turned into, a sideshow. It is a sideshow. And front and center in the sideshow is this clown named Miles Johnston and the cruel mistress who sits in the corner at times emerging to babble incoherently, Miss Carrie Cassidy.
I know.
Carrie, I know you'll never say my name. I know you think I'm jealous of you. I'm not jealous of you. I don't like you. And I think
there
you're
is
a travesty.
nothing there to be jealous of. Neither one of us like her. God, she was going around for a while there. Every interview she did was asking people if they knew me, had they ever spoken with me, and would say, he doesn't like me anymore. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. When you pulled your dog and pony show with Wilcock and that idiot from Australia, you pretty much did it.
So, speaking of Wilcock, okay, so, here's where the ante got raised. The ante got raised when David Wilcock cut a deal with Gaiam TV to do a series, a 40-episode series, as I understand it, and then he needed material. So David went trolling for material on Project Avalon and other forums as well, until he found the perfect tool, Corey Good. And then we launch into the caper of the secret space program revelations, the Blue Avians, all of the woo-woo that has exploded about secret space programs. And what it has done, it has catapulted the alternative media into a place where now there's money on the table, there's live faces in front of you. Gaiam TV, what can you say about them? Go look at their prospectus. Go look at the people that run Gaiam TV. The nicest thing you can say about them is what they say about themselves. We're a lifestyle marketing company. Welcome to the lifestyle, kiddies.
I have to admit, listen, the past 2 years, I would go weeks at a time without internet. I've lived in the mountains for a month at a time over the past couple of years. God, Corey Good. Yeah, repeating this, regurgitating old information. Just like Max Spears, Cashbo, James, they're just, if you listen to them and then go back and read material from the 60s, all the way back to the 60s and 70s, they're just regurgitating the same old information over and over. None of it is new, and it was bullshit then, and it's bullshit now. Like, I listened to an interview right after Max Spears passed, and when I was asked to go on the radio to talk about it, which in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have done that soon, but I was free that day, so I figured, what the hell. He was doing what looked to be a tour of England with Miles Johnston walking around behind him. And here again, we're talking about all these people and their past lives. Them being kings, queens, dukes, knights, lords and ladies, popes as a past life. Whatever happened to somebody in a past life being a stable boy, getting kicked in the fucking head by a donkey and dying in a pile of crap? They're all kings, queens, lords, ladies, knights, all this crap, okay? Well, they look up, he shows Miles this one big tower, and I'm talking a circular building, and it says the reason that they were built circular, round, and I quote, is so the interdimensional demons demons could not climb the structure. Boys and girls, I deal with demons on a weekly freaking basis. That's what I do. And I do it a lot, and I do it good. They don't care if that building's round, square, triangle, or 40-foot thick of steel. They walk through it. That was the most pathetic comment I've ever heard in my life. If this is the style of verbiage that so many of you people hang on, because you know inside it ain't real. You know it's not real. And you can call me a lion sack of crap. I don't care. I've been called everything there is to be called. But understand one thing. I was the first. I was the first one to come out. And I'm still freaking standing. And I have taken every bullet, every car hit, every knife wound to the back, and I'm still standing. And I will stand and I will preach this until somebody, enough people, stand up and do something about it, or they finally take me out. So deal with it. Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm angry. This whole freaking thing that I've been reading the past couple of mornings, it's put everything over the top. It just, I equate it, like I said, with the election that's going on in this country. I'm seeing and listening to two sides to the same coin. BS on both sides. You got one side saying, if you don't vote for Hillary, you're unpatriotic. You got the other side saying, oh, my God, Trump is the last hope for this country. Well, if you're tying all your hopes on one guy to be elected the president, then you're an oxymoron. You're an idiot. We haven't had a president that's had any kind of power since Abraham Lincoln anyway. It's a figurehead, nothing more. They have no real power.
We haven't had a country since Lincoln was president. You might want to go look that up.
Since the War of 1814.
Exactly. It's a corporate.
I know history.
It's corporate government services organization. It has been reorganized and bankrupted almost like clockwork for 150 years now, as it has
every 20 years. Every 20 years.
They reorganize, they elect a new board of directors, they write new bonds, new debts, and guess who gets named as the guarantor of all those debts? You, sports fans, who go and vote. Yep. Guess what you registered? Your name on a piece of paper so you can vote. If it's a constitutional right, why the hell do you have to register to do it?
Exactly.
Why are we talking about this? Because, unfortunately, humans don't want to take responsibility for their mundane little lives. Life is, quite frankly, the normal human being on this planet, just walking around in the street, living a so-called normal life, whatever the hell that is subject to all manner of traumatic mind control on a daily basis. You know, we talked about this years ago in interviews we did, that everybody on the planet is under mind control. Now, maybe you weren't hooked up and had terminals clipped on you and bolts thrown through your body and split, but you've been split systematically and routinely by the information purveyors that you consume willingly with your consent, whether it is a debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump or the latest basis video. You're still buying a fantasy. You're still putting your hopes on something. Your life is deep and dark and dirty enough without cluttering it up with somebody else's bullshit.
Exactly. And oh, my dirty beloved, I didn't know was standing on the corner here and some of this. And oh, I got a dirty look for all the curse words. I'm going to pay for that one.
It's okay, Susan. We're uncensored tonight. The gloves are off. The gloves are off, baby.
Speaking of gloves, on a lighter note, I got talked into fighting one more professional fight. I'm going to do it. 10 round. I'm going to do one more 10-round professional kickboxing match. Probably here in Houston or Dallas, in about four, maybe 5 months away. I'm going to do one more, just for the hell of it. It's idiotic. It's crazy. I know.
We already had that conversation.
I know. Yeah, my wife's just saying, you're out of your mind. I kind of like you the way you are. I don't want to see, be in a wheelchair, that kind of thing. But, what the heck? One more time. Can I bang one more thing real quick? I figured you want to stop this at an hour.
No, we're good. We don't have a time limit. You go until we've worn each other out. This was just, what this was is I got a rash on my ass and I need to scratch it. That's what it was from both of us tonight. So that's what this is.
It was. I had no intentions. Look, I can't say for what, and I can't say with who, because, like I said, I signed an NDA agreement. But 2 days ago, I stood out in our courtyard here at the office buildings where we work for 3 hours, an hour and a half solid with the cameras rolling, and talked about all this stuff. And I did the whole damn thing in one take. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. And it went very good. It went very, very good. And when it airs, and, I'll tell you and you can tell everybody, it deals with the broader spectrum, and it's me at a much more serious level of the MKUltra, the Manchurian candidates, that sort of thing. This was a very exceptional group of people that came in to film this. And I will give that shout out to them right now, because I know they will hear this somewhere down the line. They were an exceptional crew. There were 12 of them that came in, and they were just a great bunch of guys. But the one other thing that I really, really want to hit on that's just been absolutely snapping my bacon over the past few months is CERN. How in the hell does all of a sudden all these people become experts on CERN? When it was not that long ago, no one even believed it existed. If I remember correctly, Randy, you and I were the first two to ever publicly talk about it. And after we did, it was, just like with MK stuff. Laugh at it, poke fun at it, ridiculous, cuss at it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, now all of a sudden it's YouTube mainstream. It's every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there is telling you what CERN is for. And I've seen at least 12 so-called whistleblowers telling you that they're the ones that are dealing with CERN. Well, you're all freaking full of shit. Because that job is still mine. I just got a new crew member to go with me. That's all.
Well, all of these subjects, and this goes into the conversation. You and I a couple of years ago said, you said this in an interview, I'm done talking about MKUltra. I think I've said all I want to say about this. And you've been true to that for the most part. I know you've done other interviews with other people, which I think is great. Because as I pointed out to you, Duncan, I can't do a fresh interview with you the way other people can. And it's important from the perspective of an interviewer to be able to come at something fresh. We've done a lot of interviews and a lot of talks over the years, but you stayed true
and
to
not
that.
only that, you and I have spent so many nights just sitting up on your back porch.
Yeah. It just becomes kind of a conversation between two friends, which is great.
Yeah.
And we love sharing this stuff. But, as I said, to put things out there, fresh ears, fresh eyes. I welcome other people to do this work. I got to tell you, and my co-host Emily Moyer knows this. We've had this conversation. I've said, I don't know where I want to go with this. I don't know how long I want to do this. I'm not doing this for entertainment's sake, and honestly, sometimes lately I thought, let's just do a goddamn sports show or something. I mean, now there's an area where you could pry the lid off of some dark shit right there.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, the only reason we're doing it is because I think we do things in a certain way that bring dignity and hopefully decency to the subject matter. I mean, that really is the goal in all of this. This is not clickbait. This is not monetized. My YouTube channel, by the way, is monetized. I've never collected a nickel off of it. We put copyrighted music out with our shows and turn it over to the musicians. That's the way we decided to go.
I know, and this goes back to what we talked about earlier. Every jackwagon that has this superfilia story that they want to go out and talk about, especially where Miles Johnson is concerned, how the hell can they afford to go traveling all over Europe and to 8-9 different states, and then back to Europe, and then back over here?
Well, none of these people
does anyone ever stop to wonder where does this money come from? Nobody stops to take a moment and just take a deep breath and say, who's sponsoring all of this? Critical thinking, people.
I think you and I know the answer to that. We know the company behind all this. Right, fellas? You're hearing this too. We know where the checks get written. We know who the directorate is in all of this. I mean, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't have to worry about whether my YouTube channel is popular, whether my ad clicks are going to be sufficient to get me through another month, because I don't make any money at this. I don't do this for money. I shovel money out of my pocket to do this. It's a free will offering to humanity. And I'm not bragging my horn. You have done amazing work, you and Susan, and the things that you're doing now, and most people don't know. Is that,
and they never will. And
you're not squirreling a bunch. This is not work for money. We need to get past this paradigm. You see, the alternative community out there thinks just like the people in the Matrix, because they are the people in the Matrix. They're running checkbooks and bank accounts and credit cards and living the same life as their media counterparts. Maybe not quite as good, but okay. Maybe it's a Motel 6 somewhere, but you still got a roof over your head, right? And somebody's paying your car rentals. But at the end of the day, everybody in our society and our culture has to retrain their thinking. The buzzword at one time was service to others. Well, guess what? Almost nobody in alternative media lives that. They're all a bunch of lying, thieving, whoring hypocrites.
Absolutely.
And I'm comfortable saying that. There are exceptions to this, but they're damn few and very far between at this point. Most people are whores or whore wannabes.
Yeah, you're right. And, we can't let this go without talking about CCN.
Nope. No, I guess not.
I can. Neal, darling, I know you're hearing this. Nice try with the email that you not email. I'm sorry, Facebook message that you sent me about how I let you down. That I chose the wrong side on the whole. What's the guy's name? Gardner? Zen Gardner. Yeah. Zen Gardner.
Done.
Took me a minute. I'm having brain parts.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
I've been on the job since 7 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock here. I've been going a long time. Zen Gardner. That I chose the wrong side on that, and you wish Susan and I well, but you hope that she doesn't have to suffer through my fantasies. Where can I go with that? See, I thought about writing this big long post. Honestly, I just don't have time. I don't have time, Cotton, to on a computer and do all this.
No.
That's for you, Thomas Sheridan. Deal with it. Look, let's just cut to the brass tacks on this. There are some bullshit con artists out there, and this whole Zen Gardner thing, I'm just going to be blunt with it. Zen Gardner never left the cult.
Nope.
He's still in it. He's the PR man. He does the damage control. They got busted. How do I know this? Boys and girls, I've done a lot of things in my life. One of those things was to be sent out through various, yes, you're not going to like this, Catholic Church dioceses. Not all of them are bad. And I've been sent out more than once to infiltrate cults and bust them up, break them, get the people out. I know how they work. I learned how their infrastructure works. I learned how their banking and their financing works. I've been in them for weeks and months at a time. Then I bust them up. Surprise, there's a little town called Surprise, Wisconsin. Look it up. Several years ago, there was a raid on a house where some child prostitutes were brought out. They were captives. Guess who the first prick through the door was? Yeah, I was. Black magic was involved. Cultism was involved. Yeah, I deal with this stuff. I still deal with this stuff through SRA victims, satanic ritual abuse victims. I know how it operates. And you people out there defending Zen Gardner, that really, really makes me question your motive. Because when you've been in the middle of this stuff to where you go days and don't close your eyes because you're waiting on that bullet in the back of the head, hoping you haven't got caught, I know you people. I know how you operate. I know how you act. Mel V, you're acting just like someone that's involved in a cult. I'm not saying you are for sure, but I'm saying you're acting like one. Take that for what you want. And as far as me living a fantasy, you ain't seen me naked to look at my scarred up body, have you? Of course, you're not going to get that chance because I kind of like what I go to bed with every night and who I wake up with every morning. So you're not going to get that chance. So there. You out of here? Yeah. All right. Greg will stay away. Okay, no problem. Take it easy, bud.
All right. I'll see you.
Okay, I'll be here.
I'll be late tomorrow.
That's cool. I'll be here.
All right.
I'm always here. And yes, I'm being an ass about some of this. Because I've said this so many times over and over and over. I return in kind. You show me kindness, I show you kindness 10 times over. Show me respect, I'll show you respect 10 times over. You show me disdain and hate, you're going to get it right back at you. So, Mel, sorry, honey, you cut your own throat where I'm concerned. If anybody lets somebody down, you let me down. And here's a suggestion that sex collar you got around Biggie's neck, you might want to loosen it up just a little bit because you're choking him off. I'll deal with you later down the line.
Yeah, that's kind of the position I've taken with CCN. I'll deal with them at the opportune moment because they basically launched a smear campaign on me using a very large tool who is a would-be cult leader named Z, and I'm just waiting for that bomb to explode inside of CCN. So guess what, guys? Your weapon against me will turn out to be your worst nightmare.
That's what we call coconut butter and margarine with a little bit of canola oil in a jar, put in the microwave for 5 minutes.
Yep.
Count the number down and wait for it to go boom.
So in all of this, again, we're dealing with a mess. My biggest issue right now is that you ladies on Facebook that had the hots for Max need to get over it. You women energy healers out there who claim that you can integrate 200 personalities in a single day, here's my challenge to you. Go clear out some VA hospitals. There's some people out there that could really use your asses right now. Because, quite frankly, the fakery that's being paraded on the internet right now isn't your healing work. That's not your handiwork. You all are sitting around laying hands on each other and saying how healed you are when you are some of the sickest people out there with your love and light new age bullshit.
Oh God, yes. Amen to that. Look, here's what people don't truly understand. Yeah. Susan and I work at a place called Centerpoint. We are what is known as the two healers on staff. That means we're here 7 days a week. We have other healers that come in at various times, but we're on staff 7 days a week, and we're on call constantly. And that's what we do every day. It's the energy healing with the massage, with everything that we do, and I know you've seen us do some of it. At the end of the day, we got nothing left. We are utterly, completely exhausted. We have actually just put two massage tables together and collapsed on them. That's how hard this work really is. So when you got you jackwagons out there bragging, you can do, like you just said, Randy, you can do this, you can do that. You're so full of it, you stink. You open your mouth and you get a polished turd coming out. You can't do anything. When you do true, honest healing work, it takes it out of you. It takes its toll. And you don't go around bragging about it. Now, we work with practicing psychologists. We have taken a psychologist with us on paranormal jobs. And we freaked her crap out once. We are legitimate. What we do is real. And that's why I can sit here and honestly say from experience, from over 30 years of experience of dealing with this stuff, who's legitimate and who isn't. And for one time, and I'm going to do it on your show, if that's okay with you, I'm going to toot my freaking horn. I've earned the damn right to say who's legitimate and who ain't. I've earned that right.
You have earned it.
And I'm telling you, 90% of these people out there right now saying that they do this, they do that, they're a whistleblower, this and that, you're all full of bullshit. Every damn one of you. You're full of shit. 90% of you. You're full of it. You want your 5 minutes of fame, and even if you get it, I got news for you. It ain't what you think it's going to be. I've done TV shows. Big deal. It's more trouble than it's worth. And I get to revisit that here in a couple of weeks. Susan and I have been doing this constantly, every day, for almost 3 years now. I've been doing it for over 30 years. It takes its toll. People look at us and they're like, my God, don't you guys ever sleep? No, we don't. No, we don't. We have our own shit to deal with. When we go inside somebody to help them heal. Because here's the kicker, you guys, because this is what I'm waiting for one of you idiots out there to finally wake up and realize: you don't heal anyone. You don't heal anyone. You are nothing but a mediator. You are a felicitator. You help and open the door for that person to heal themselves, or you are the middleman for the actual, honest, true divine to work through. It ain't no guides. It ain't no angels. And my God, Randy, you and I, you know what I think about angels.
Yeah, and the angels are really butthurt over it, too.
Yeah, asswipes. There is a true divine. Absolutely. There is a creator. It ain't Jehovah. It's not Yahweh. That was a demigod from the Middle East. Forget it, okay? But there is a creator, and there is a co-creator. There was always two, a dark and a light. We walk the gray. We walk the middle, so we can help people. And we do it day in and day out for next to nothing. We don't expect anything. All we care about it right now is a roof over our heads and a decent meal once a day. That's the life of a true healer. Now, I tooted my own horn, and I'm going to regret it, but I said it, and I'll shut up about it now.
Well, I think we've scratched our butts pretty well here. We've vented spleens and lanced a couple boils, all the unpleasant body references you can make. But, you know, quite honestly, I'm glad you decided you wanted to do this. I wanted to do this. I just didn't want to do it alone. And
I don't blame you. I didn't want to do it alone. We said things that needed to be said. We opened some doors that needed to be open. We threw a couple more targets on our backs. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, somebody's got to stand up for the real people who are hurting. Because these asswipes out there sure as hell aren't.
And I really think at this point, you know, we need another way to define things. I can no longer say I'm alternative media because I don't know what that means anymore, given that the alternative media has now decided that they want to be mainstream, which they were really just working towards that all along. Congratulations, guys, you graduated. You're now sellouts, too. So we'll stay underground. That's where we really belong. And it's funny because the metaphor for off-planet radio had nothing to do with UFOs and aliens originally. It was a metaphor of, remember offshore radio, remember Radio Caroline, remember Tijuana, the radio stations that blasted out of Mexico? Well, those were underground radio stations, and that's actually, the metaphor I was extending was basically, okay, so pirate radio station from somewhere off-world, and I couldn't get off-world radio. So that's how this came about. And the point is, this is underground. I'm not looking for numbers. You're not looking for fame and fortune. We're just voices that kind of leak out there because somebody cared enough to go look for us. And we're not that guy. We're us. We're who we are. This is what we do. And the people that find us, it's great. If you don't like what we say, great. Go somewhere else. There's lots of people to blow smoke up your ass. This ain't the place for it.
Hell, dude, you know, Sue, I mean, look, we're just like you. You met us, you've worked with us, we've stayed at your house. You know exactly who we are and what we are.
Exactly.
When our day's over, people walk in this place, they'll find us sitting on the couches with our feet propped up and an open bottle of wine, passing the bottle to each other. And you're like, oh my God, aren't you supposed to, yeah, the day's over, you want a glass? That's us. That's who we are. And you can make fun of us, you can degrade us, you can do what you want, but at the end of the day, we're the ones still standing there fighting when everybody else has ran. And that's the way we look at you and only a couple of other people in this, quote, alternative media, unquote. At the end of the day, and people out there need to hear this, and this is me, and I'm not just talking about my friend, who I consider one of the best friends I've ever had. But Randy Maugan will stand there and fight for the small guy, the little guy, and fight for the truth and what's right when the rest of you sumbitches have ran. You tucked your tail between your legs and you ran. He's still standing there fighting. And that's where some of us are. You've jumped ship, you've sold out, you've done whatever. You put a wig on and got in the Titanic lifeboat. You know, whatever you've done, you're not part of anything good. There's very, very few of us out there. So you're just going to just deal with it. You know, sign on or sign off. It's up to you. There, my 2 cents.
Well, to kind of close it out, you know, we've talked about this before. You know, I think one of the things that you and I share, and Susan and my wife as well, is we know this ain't home. Apparently we were dropped in here to do a job, and we're the cleanup detail for the apocalypse in some way, shape, or form, and that's just the way I view it. But I'm not comfortable here. I'm not all that happy with it, and I ain't coming back.
Hell no, I'm not coming back. I was drunk when I signed the first contract. I'm not coming back. I want a do-over on that contract.
I'll honor the contract. I'm putting in my time. I'm going to do my job. I won't be back. No.
Hey, can I bring up something funny?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's end it on something funny. Okay, most people don't know. Your wife, Deb, and I are cousins.
Yeah, that's the weirdest.
People out there don't know that. Okay, we're freaking related.
Well, and you're related through tribal bloodlines, which is even more interesting.
I know. We're all Cherokee bloodline. Her family's from the same Cherokee settlement that my grandparents were from. There's, the resemblance and everything. I mean, we stepped on the computer that one night going through all this, and we just looked at each other and at the same time said, hey, cousin, it was just funny. But this is funny, and I think some people get a kick out of this. A lot of people don't know that much about Susan and I. When Deb first saw Susan and I, when we came to stay with you guys, we were doing that workshop in Massachusetts, and we came back down and we dropped in and we stayed with you guys for a while. She got me aside and she was chastising the heck out of me, and I'm sitting there.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Believe me, I know the feeling real well.
And I tried to keep a straight face. Okay, dude, what's wrong with you? You're robbing the cradle. You're this. You're that. You're that. And I'm going, Deb, and she's going on and on, Deb, and she's going on and on. And I finally told her how old she really was. She really was at that time. And there was this look on her face, and she, okay, and everything was okay after that. She's a lot older than she looks. Quite a bit older. I'm going to keep her away from this interview. I don't want her to hear it. But yeah, she's a lot older.
You're not really supposed to go there with females.
I know, but
it's
I'm allowed once in a while.
It's a breach of protocol. And some of us, we actually don't. I don't look my age, and
no,
I don't know what that is. Do. It's not clean living, I can tell you that.
Oh, that's for damn sure. On my side too. Any of us side, that's for sure.
But it's interesting. We've gone down a long road together, and there's times when I wish I was able to walk some of those dark paths with you, but that's your thing. I have my own thing that, is kind of my dark end of the street that I deal with, and that's really the thing. If you want to glamorize something, take the dark corners of your own life out there and begin to work light in that. There is something to light working. But you've got to understand that the light's from inside of you. You actually transmit light codes from your DNA, and working with that, you can become a healer. But you're not going to get that from what you're getting as a steady diet in these media outlets. They are selling you down the river. They're robbing you of your energy. They are turning you into zombies. They are turning you into fanboys and girls of fake people who are being paid to play something that's much darker than they even understand themselves. I don't want to steal anything from any of the people. Max Spears has passed on, and to kind of wrap this up, whatever and whoever Max Spears was, I hope he finds solace and peace, and I hope people let him do that. When I see people trying to channel, when I see people trying to contact the dead, you and I both know how the protocols work. That's a no-no.
Yes, that's a no-no. That's a no-no. You don't do that.
I think it's time to let this thing go and stop sensationalizing it and thinking that you can glorify something that's no longer with us. I mean, you and I talked earlier tonight about our friend Chris Neal, and I count that as one of the losses that I experienced in the time that I've been doing this. And, there was a very deliberate thing. We're not going to glorify this. We know more than we can say about Chris, but Chris's blog's still out there. Every day it's on the internet. No one can take it down. It's locked. And I posted the link today on my Facebook page. Anybody wants to contact me, I'll send you the link. You can go read Chris Neal's blog, and you will find out the horrors of MKUltra and the horrors of how it really is to be tortured from the time you're a small child until the very last day that you draw a breath. There's no glory in any of this. No, there isn't.
There is no, that very well said. There is no glory in this. And anyone going out there on interviews or conferences or bases and all this and that, trying to give it glory and whatnot, you're a fool. You're a fool or you're a fake. There's no glory in killing. There's no honor in killing. There's no glory or honor in being tortured. And it doesn't matter. I don't care. This is what I said the other day on TV. I don't care if you believe me or not. I really don't. I've been doing this work most of my life, almost my entire adult life. I don't care if you believe me or not. Just open up your mind and your eyes and your ears and look around. And if you don't see something wrong, then you're deaf, dumb, and blind. And if you do see something wrong, take it and run with it and start figuring it out. That's when you truly start to wake up. But right now, dude, the majority of the people are still asleep, even though they think they're awake. And I'll say this, okay, you wake up, now what? What are you going to do with it? Find some guru or supposed guru, stick your nose up where the sun don't shine and follow them around? That's not the way. There are no gurus. There are no saviors. Time and experience is your teacher. Your savior is you. Wake up, stand up, be counted, and freaking do something. Do something to help somebody else instead of yourself. Just give it a shot. The best way to help yourself is to help somebody else. I found that out a long, long time ago. And it helped me to get over the pain and the hate and the anger and wanting to be vindictive, wanting vengeance over what was done to me. It helped me to forgive. And you have to. You can't heal someone. You can't help someone else to heal. You can't take someone else's illness, pain, and misery out of their body into yours, which is what we do. That's how we work with people. We take it from that person, we pull it into ourselves, and then we're able to get rid of it, usually within a day. If you have hate in you, you can't heal if you hate. It doesn't work that way. You can't heal or help heal if you have an ego. It just doesn't work like that. I know. I've been doing this for my entire adult life. And I've learned how to do it as a child through a government project that was designed to teach me to pull someone's life force out of them and kill them. Yet I was able to take that and turn it into helping someone heal. Because I gave up the hate. I gave up the anger. I didn't want vengeance anymore. I wanted to help someone else. And that's my 2 cents.
I'll add one last thing. You can't walk in the truth if you're living a lie. And a lot of people out there are not what they seem. And unless you got something else, Duncan, I think we can wrap this thing up real nicely. We got about a 90-minute show here that we can put out that I think says a lot of things people need to think about. Final word is yours.
No,
Final word
I
is
think
yours,
I'm
my
done.
brother. All right.
I think my wife's waiting on me to go get a cheeseburger. I think I'm done.
Okay, you need to go do that. Give my love to Susan, my love to you.
Will do.
My love to you, all out there. The truth is out there. It really is inside of you. Don't let anybody else own it. This is Off Planet Radio. I'm Randy Maugan.
This is Off Planet Radio.